बोलो लाडली लाल की। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अहो वकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसया पाययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं धात्र्युचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Radhe Radhe devotees, during this weekend, this sadhana intensive, we're going to be reviewing one kirtan that was written by Shri Kripaluji Maharaj called Kripalu Trayodashi. Trayodash means 13 and Trayodashi means a group of 13. So this is a group of 13 dohas, divine couplets, written by Shri Maharajji as a way of summarizing his philosophy. When he introduced this kirtan in the satsang, he said, just in case in the future anybody tries to misinterpret my philosophy, you can always refer back to this ultra-condensed version of the philosophy, the whole philosophy in 13 dohas. And that way you can check and see exactly what is the flow of Shri Maharajji's philosophy. So for the next 3 days, we're going to review these 13 couplets. That doesn't leave me much time to elaborate on the meaning of each one, but you've all heard these things many times in the past, so it will be a good quick review for us as we examine in depth but quickly the meaning of each of these dohas. So let us start with a little bit of kirtan and then we'll move on to the first few dohas today. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Maharaj is a Jagadguru. And not only that, he is called the Jagadguru Dham, the Supreme Jagadguru. So for such an elite scholar, you can say the topmost scholar of the Sanskrit scriptures, to distill his entire explanation of those scriptures down into only 13 dohas. To put that in modern terms, that would be like Michael Jordan or LeBron James doing a 10-minute YouTube video on everything you need to know about basketball. Everybody would want to watch that video who likes to play basketball, right? I don't know why they've never done it, but they haven't. But luckily for us, the Supreme Master of the current age, Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Maharaj, he's put the whole entire philosophy into just 13 dohas. So for those of you who are familiar with his philosophy, his explanation of our Sanskrit scriptures, the Siddhant of Sanatan Dharm, this will be a good review and reminder for you. And those of you who may not be familiar with it, this will be a really nice introduction for you that may answer many of the questions that you have about spirituality and Hinduism. So let us begin with the first doha, which is where Shri Maharajji always begins. Brahma Jeev Maya. There are three eternal things, three eternal entities that have existed forever and will always continue to exist. One is Brahm, one is Jeev, one is Maya. Brahm means God, Jeev means the souls, and Maya means the energy that has manifested into the form of this physical universe, the cosmic energy. Maya, Jeev, and Brahm. The cosmic energy, the souls, and God. All three are Anadi, Anant. Anadi means no beginning. Aja mekam lohit shukla krishnam vahvi praja srijamanam sarupa ajo hyeko jushamano nushete Jahatyenam bhukta bhoga majonya. Shvetashvatara Upanishad says these three things never had a beginning. God, souls, and Maya never had a beginning. And they are also anant, which means they will never have an end. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Surya chandrama saudhata yatha purvamakalpayat. Rigved. God can never finish. He's God. Who could destroy God? Even God can't destroy himself. It's impossible. And God never created himself. So he's been here forever. No one ever had to create him, and he'll always remain. Souls were never created either. We've been here forever, and we will always remain because we are not killed by the death of our physical body. You can die of millions of different things, but whenever the time of death comes, that's when we go. But that is only the death of our physical body, not the death of our soul. Our soul goes on. Changing bodies is just like changing clothes for the soul. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnanti navani dehi tatha sharirani vihaya jirnan Nyanyani sanyati navani dehi. Gita. Just like we change clothes, our soul changes bodies. And we've done it uncountable times. And we'll go on for however many more births it takes to become God-realized. So we can never die. And the Mayic energy can never die either. God dissolves the universe and then he produces it again. And you get stars and suns and moons and earth planets, just as it was before. So these three things that exist have always been here and will always remain. This is the first principle that someone has to understand. This is the first building block. This is the foundation of our tattva gyan, our spiritual knowledge. When we understand this, then we go further ahead and we add more pieces of knowledge onto this foundation. This understanding of our eternity is something we know intellectually. It's not something that we have accepted on the deepest level. The proof of this is that we still fear death. Now, this is not to say that if someone accepted this on the deepest level, that I'm a divine soul, I'm not this temporary body, and the body was born in order to die anyway. Everything that is born must die. That's not to say if someone accepted this philosophy that they would just be careless and flaunt it. Say, coronavirus? What coronavirus? I don't care. I'll eat coronavirus for breakfast. No, we have to behave sensibly in the world. So we follow the prescribed precautions, but we still know in our heart that my death is destined. When I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Whether it's by coronavirus or a car accident or any other means, death comes at the pre-appointed time. So we have to console ourselves with this spiritual knowledge and not get disturbed, not allow our devotion to be disrupted by the ups and downs that happen in the society. There are always minor and major catastrophes happening all over the world. This is just a feature of the Mayic energy. These things go on. Sometimes you have big disasters, sometimes you have minor disasters, you have earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, diseases, and these things just keep coming and going. Just like the stock market keeps going up and down, these things that affect our physical life, they keep coming and going, and we just have to maintain a balanced devotional mind during these times. In fact, we can use it to our devotional advantage. Narayana Swami says, "Do batan ko bhool mat jo chahasi kalyan, Narayana ek maut ko dujo Shri Bhagavan." He says, if you want to attain the goal of your life, if you really want to attain God in this life, then always remember two things. And the first thing he says to remember might surprise you. He says, remember death. And second of all, remember God. Death is number one, God is number two. We know why we have to remember God, because if our mind is in God, it's getting purified. Why do we have to remember death? Because that keeps that feeling of urgency in our mind. I shouldn't procrastinate doing devotion. I shouldn't waste even a minute of my time here in this human body. This is my golden opportunity to attain God. But death could come at any time. It's unpredictable. The time is fixed, but only God knows when that time is. So remember that death could come at any time. And always keep your mind in God. So we remember these things, but at the same time we understand that we as souls are eternal. God is eternal, we're eternal, and Maya is eternal. We are Anadi Anant. So this is the brief description of the first doha, which we'll now sing, and then add to this knowledge with the subsequent dohas. Brahma Jiva Maya Tattva Govind Radhe Tino hai anadi ananta bata de. The next two dohas tell us more about these three entities, God, the souls, and Maya. First, starting with Brahm and Jeev. Brahma Jeev Chetan Govind Radhe. The next doha says Brahma Shakti Maya Jada Govind Radhe. So there are two adjectives used here. One is Chetan, one is Jada. Chetan means to have consciousness, to be sentient. In other words, to be able to perceive and experience the world around us, to have a mind and a conscious awareness of our own existence, as well as being able to experience everything around us. This is being Chetan. Being Jada means the opposite of that. Not having a mind, being insentient, having no feelings, no knowledge, no experience, no awareness. This is Maya. God and the souls are Chetan. Maya is Jada. God is Chetan, that makes sense. He's the supreme divine personality. So of course he has a mind. He has unlimited divine knowledge in his mind. He is the personified essence of divine bliss. Souls are also Chetan, we know. That's us. We know that we're sentient beings. We're aware of our own existence and we can experience and know things. Now Maya, there are things in this world that are Chetan, but Mayic energy itself is Jada. The tree that this harmonium was made out of, it had a soul in it when it was standing and still alive. That soul is Chetan. The wood itself was never Chetan. It behaves as a living organism for as long as the soul inhabits it. But the elements themselves are not alive. And we see that once the soul leaves, it goes back to its original elements, meaning the physical body, the physical thing, goes back to its original elements. And we see that, oh, this thing isn't alive, actually. There was a soul in it, that's why it was alive. So Maya has no mind of its own, which means Maya has no problems. You might say, oh, there's so many problems in Maya, there's so many negative things, so much suffering. Yeah, that doesn't bother Maya. Maya is what it is, good, bad, whatever it is. Maya has no awareness of its own existence. Maya is an abstract existence that only exists on the basis of God and is activated by God. And only with God's upholding Maya's activated state, is this universe held in its physical phase, which we see right now. When God withdraws his power, Maya returns to that absolute, abstract, formless, original energy. So Maya has no mind of its own, nor any capability to do anything on its own. This is why in the third Doha, Shri Maharaj has written Brahma Shakti. So this Maya is Brahma ki Shakti. Mayam tu prakritim vidyan mainan tu maheshwaram Shvetashvatropanishad. Maya is God's power. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Gita. Shri Krishna says, Maya is my power. So Maya is God's power, and Shasak Brahma Batade. Jiva Maya Shasak Brahma Batade. God is the Shasak. Shasak means governor. In the case of Maya, I already explained. Maya can't do anything on its own. God has to uphold the existence of Maya. God has to activate Maya and keep it activated. And when he withdraws his power, Maya returns to that unmanifest, absolutely subtle form. So Maya is completely dependent on God. And souls are as well, but in a different way. God is giving us our Chetan quality. He's residing within our soul. You can say that just like this is the body of our soul, this part you can see, but the soul lives on the inside. Our soul is Krishna's body because he's living inside our soul. So he's the soul of our soul, giving life to us. Therefore, in that way, we are completely dependent on him, and he is our governor. He is our Shasak. However, one shouldn't take that to mean that he is the doer of our actions or that he controls us in any way. He doesn't. Souls have free will, which is why we're held accountable for our actions, and we're rewarded or punished according to the motivation of those actions. If God were responsible for our actions, why would he punish us or reward us? He should reward himself or punish himself. Why would we have to receive the consequences of our actions if we weren't responsible for them? So we know that God gives us life, and that means he's given us the power to think and act, but we are free to do what we will with that power. However, we are not free to choose to receive the consequences or not. We are free to use that power how we want, for good or bad, or for bhakti, but we are not free to choose the consequences. God keeps track of our actions and gives us the consequences. So for all of these reasons, he is called our Shasak. Charam pradhanam amritaksharam harah charatmana ishate deva ekah. There's one Ish, and he is the Ish of both Maya and the souls. Shvetashvatra Upanishad. So now we've understood there are three eternal entities, God, the souls, and Maya. Out of those three, the souls are Chetan and God is Chetan, but Maya is Jada. But God rules both the souls and Maya. Without him, we couldn't exist. And this is the reason, if we come back to the second doha, the second line says, Brahma Shakti Jeev Yate Ansh Batade. I already told you that Maya is God's power. Souls are also considered to be God's power. And I already explained why. Because he's giving life to us. So all the souls taken together are called Jeev Shakti, God's soul power. We're all a part of that Jeev Shakti. Here Maharaj uses the word Ansh. Chinmatram Shri Hareransham Sukshmam Aksharam Avyayam Ved. Mamaivansho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatana Gita. Ansho Nana Vyapadeshat Brahma Sutra. This word Ansh is used throughout our scriptures to indicate a relationship between the souls and God. And literally, Ansh means a part of or a fraction of. So when the scriptures refer to us souls as fractions of God, one might wonder, does that mean God was split into pieces? And each one of us is a piece of God? No, not directly. We are not a direct Ansh of God. We are an indirect Ansh of God. What does that mean? It means we are Ansh of his Jeev Shakti. We are not a direct Ansh of him. First of all, God can't be broken into pieces. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Ishavasya Upanishad. God is always Purn. He's always whole and complete. So he cannot be split up or broken into pieces. So we shouldn't think that each one of us is a little God running around. We have God within us, definitely, but we have the whole God within us. Krishna himself is sitting within each one of us. However, our soul is not the same as God. Our soul is a fraction of God's soul power, a fraction of his Jeev Shakti. So you see, if all of us were pieces of God that had been split up and broken up, then if you got all the souls together, that would equal God. That's not how it works. If you get all the souls together, that equals God's Jeev Shakti. So we are an Ansh of God. That's a very short way of saying it. It's more complete if we say we are an Ansh of God's Jeev Shakti. This is why we are called Tatast. Tata. Tata means the bank. Like you go down to Kalindi River, there's a bank where you can be on the edge of Kalindi, but you're not standing in the water. But you're also not standing in the middle of the forest. So you're neither in the forest nor in the river, you're on the bank, the Tat. So if you're standing there on the Tat, you are Tatast. You're situated on the bank. So the Jeev Shakti, all the souls, they are considered to be Tatast. We are neither a direct part of God, nor are we a part of Maya. If we were a part of Maya, we would also be Jada, which we're not. And if we were a direct part of God, we would be God ourselves. We would be all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent, all-blissful. We are none of those things, so we're not God. So we are not Maya, nor are we God, we are the souls. So we are Tatast, or we are a part of his Tatastha Shakti. This is all a way of understanding what this word Ansh means. We are a part of his Jiva Shakti, which is neither synonymous with Maya nor synonymous with God. But it is God's power. So we are eternally related to God because he's sitting inside of us, giving life to us, and we're both Chetan. So we're the same in that way. We're both alive. So we're of the same type, us and God. Nonetheless, we are souls who are Ansh of Jiva Shakti, and he is Bhagavan. So this is the meaning of these two dohas. Brahma Jiva Chetan Govind Radhe, Brahma Shakti Jiva Yate Ansh Batade. We are called his Ansh not because we are a direct part broken off from him, but because we are a part of his Jiva Shakti. We are his power, therefore we're called his Ansh. And the next doha, Brahma Shakti Maya Jad, Jiva Maya Shasak Brahma Batade. So we will sing these two dohas now. Brahma Jiva Chetana Govind Radhe, Brahma Shakti Jivayate Ansh Batade. Shakti Jivayate Ansh Batade.
Brahma 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 Shakti Maya Jad Govind Radhe, Jiva Maya Shasak Brahma Batade.
Brahma Shakti Maya Jad Govind Radhe, Jiva Maya Shasak Brahma Batade.
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 O Sarva Shakti Brahma Shakti Maya Jad Govind Radhe, Jiva Maya Shasak Brahma दे।
शक्ति माया जड़ गोविंद राधे। जीव माया शासक ब्रह्म बता दे।
The next doha tells us about God's third main power. Shri Krishner Ananta Shakti Tate Tin Pradhan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji says that although Shri Krishna has unlimited powers, but three are main. One you just learned about, Jeev Shakti. Another we also learned about, Maya Shakti. The third power of God is his personal power, Swarup Shakti. To help us understand about these three powers, they've been described just like I told you, Jeev Shakti is Tatastha Shakti. It's not out, it's not in, it's in the middle, it's in between. Maya Shakti is considered the Bahiranga Shakti, God's external power. Is it truly outside of God? No. What could exist outside of God? For something to exist outside of God, you would have to contain God within a certain area, then you could say, okay, that's outside. God is not contained, he's endless and everywhere. So of course Maya exists within God. Can any power exist outside of its owner? No. Can you hear from that wall? No. Your power of hearing exists within your personality. Can you think from this pillar? No. Your power of thinking is embedded in your personality. Maya is God's power. It cannot exist outside of him. Yet it is called his external power because it doesn't have any of God's qualities other than being all-powerful because it's powered by God. But its characteristics are the exact opposite of God. God is Chaitan, Maya is Jad. God is perfect, Maya is imperfect. God is the very form of bliss, and we know that Maya has no true happiness. So since Maya is the opposite of God in many ways according to its characteristics, so we call Maya God's external power. It's the opposite of God's personality. And souls, they don't belong in Maya. We do not share the characteristics of Maya. But we don't share the characteristics of God's internal power either. Swarup Shakti, that's what's being described here in Doha number 4. Sarva Shakti Swamini Govind Radhe, the controller of all other powers. Ek Shakti Para Antaranga Batade. Para means supreme. The supreme power is God's Antaranga Shakti. Antarang means internal. His internal or personal power is also called Swarup Shakti. It's also called Yogamaya Shakti, or it's referred to here as Para Shakti, the supreme power. But it's described as Antaranga because that is synonymous with God's personality. This Antaranga Shakti, it is with that God can make all the impossibles possible. It is with that Antaranga Yogamaya Shakti that God can be omnipresent in this world and yet can take avatar and be seen at one place at one time. And simultaneously, he can be taking avatar in uncountable other places, in uncountable other Brahmans. And he's residing in his divine abode. And He's sitting within each and every soul, giving life to them, monitoring their thoughts. All of this is possible with this personal power, Swarup Shakti. This personal power of God has three aspects. The existence aspect we call Sandini Shakti. It is with this Sandini Shakti that God is all-powerful, omnipresent, permanently existing. The next aspect is called Samvit Shakti. It's with this power that God is all-knowing. And the third aspect, and most important, is Ahladini Shakti, the power of bliss. It is with this power that God is, He remains ever blissful no matter what. So this internal power of God has all of God's godly qualities. And when a soul attains God, then the soul also receives those same three things: Sandini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, Ahladini Shakti, or you can just say Sat, Chit, Anand. These three divine qualities, these three divine powers are given to the soul. Or in short, you can just say the soul receives that internal power of God. We call Swarup Shakti, Antaranga Shakti. God gives it to us. So then does that mean we become God? No. We're still Ansh of Jeev Shakti. But right now we're Ansh of Jeev Shakti and we're Maya Yukt. We're paired up with Maya, and we're under the bondage and influence of Maya. But when we surrender to God with God's grace, the bondage of Maya is finished. Our affiliation with Maya is finished, and now we become affiliated with Swarup Shakti. We become Swarup Shakti Yukt. We're still Jeev Shakti Ka Ansh. We're still a part of God's soul power. But we become affiliated with His Swarup Shakti. So we get His unlimited life, unlimited knowledge, unlimited bliss. In that way we become just like Him. Bhogamatra samyalingacha Brahma Sutra. We become equal to Him in terms of knowledge and bliss. However, He's still God, and we are still Ansh of Jeev Shakti. It's just that He's made us equal to Him in all the important ways: bliss and knowledge and existence. Jagat Vyapar Varjam Brahma Sutra. But a soul doesn't become God. The soul doesn't become responsible for the creation and maintenance of the universe, nor for tracking the actions of the souls, nor giving them their consequences. God is God. He takes care of all of that. But we become like God because He's given us His Swarup Shakti. We'll learn more about that in the later dohas, but for now it's enough to remember that God has three main powers. Maya Shakti, the external power, Jeev Shakti, in-between power, and Swarup Shakti, the internal power. Although God has unlimited powers, these are the three main ones. So, having understood this, there's one more thing that we're going to learn about tonight, which is why souls, even though they're not on our deepest level, inherently, we have no relationship to Maya. And yet, we are under the bondage of Maya. Why? So we're going to understand the reason behind that in the next doha, but let us first sing this fourth doha. Sarva Shakti Swamini Govind Radhe Ek Shakti Para Ek Shakti Para Antaranga Bata De Shakti para antaranga bata de.
Shakti para antaranga bata de.
Ek Shakti para antaranga bata de.
Ek Shakti para antaranga bata de.
Sarva Shakti Swamini Govind Radhe Ek Shakti para antaranga bata de.
Shakti Swamini Govind Radhe Ek Shakti para antaranga bata de.
The next doha explains more of the difference between souls and God. Brahma Vigya. Vigya means all-knowing. Sukh Kand, the origin of bliss. Jiva Agya. God is Gya or Sarvagya. Yah Sarvagya. Sarvavidyasya Jnanamayan Tapah. Ved says God is all-knowing. He's the very form of divine knowledge. He is knowledge personified. And we are agya. Agya means not knowing. We are ignorant. Gya gyau dva vaja vishani shavaja hyeka bhoktri bhogyartha yukta anantaschatma vishvarupo hyakarta trayam yada vindate brahma me tat. Shvetashvatropanishad tells again about the three eternal tattva, Brahma, Jiv, and Maya, and tells that one is Gya, one is Agya, and then there's a third, Jada. Neither Gya nor Agya, has no mind. But God is Gya, He is all-knowing, and He is the very form of bliss. Anando Brahmeti Vyajanat, Taittiriya Upanishad. God is bliss. So God is bliss, God is knowledge, and souls are ignorant and they are suffering in this world because we are Maya-dhin. We are under the bondage of Maya. One might wonder, how is it possible? Maya is Jada. We're Chetan. Why should we be under the bondage of Maya? Why shouldn't we be with God? Now, there are two things to understand about this. One is that we have eternally been under the bondage of Maya. Maharaj has written here, Jiva Agya Maya Dhin Sadate. Sada means ever. Te means for. Forever we've been Agya and Maya-dhin. A lot of people think we must have been with God at some point and then God kicked us out and said, go be born in Maya, become bound by Maya, and see if you can get back to me. That would be a cruel God indeed. If for no reason whatsoever God just decided to kick us out of His divine abode and have us be born here in this Mayic realm and see, okay, it's been 1,000,000 lifetimes, you still haven't attained me, okay, have a million more, millions, billions, trillions, unlimited lifetimes, and we still haven't reached him. No, God is not cruel. God has not put us in Maya. We have been in this Mayic world since eternity. Sure, we get a little break during Pralay, when God withdraws his power from Maya and Maya dissolves, the universe dissolves, and Maya just enters a dormant state. At that time, we're free from Mayic sufferings because we're just also in a dormant state within God. Hey, our body is Mayic, so when Maya dissolves, our body's gone. Our mind is Mayic, so when Maya dissolves into its dormant state, our mind becomes dormant as well. So just the soul remains during this state of pralay. We're also dormant. The soul, although it's still Chaitan, without the faculty of the mind and senses and body, it has no way to realize its awareness, realize its existence. So during pralay, we're also doing nothing, thinking nothing, knowing nothing, like being in a coma. These are the two states we've existed in since forever. Srishti, the universe is produced, we become active, our mind becomes active, we are born into a body. So that's what we're experiencing right now, this phase of Srishti. Or we exist in the phase of Pralay when we're dormant. But either way, we're under Maya. We've never been beyond Maya. We've never existed in the divine abode. We've never been blissful or knowledgeable. What we are today is what we've been forever. The only thing that changes is we get a break during Pralay and then it starts again during Srishti. So you might wonder, why doesn't God just leave it in a state of Pralay? Let us have a break forever. Because when he does Srishti, at least there's an opportunity for souls to attain him. How that's possible, we find out in these subsequent dohas. But at least during Srishti, right now, we can find out about God through this spiritual knowledge, and we can follow the path of devotion to attain him. That's why he does Srishti. Mukhyam tasya hi karunyam, Shandilya Maharshi says, the reason that God does everything is his compassion on the souls. Out of compassion during Pralay, he says, oh, look at all these uncountable souls in this state of dormancy. Let me again manifest the universe and they can become active, and at least some of them will become God-realized. Then I'll give them another break. This cycle has been going on since eternity. This means that we have been under the bondage of Maya forever. But still, one would wonder, but we're more related to God. We're not related to Maya, so why should Maya be able to keep us under its bondage? Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshatasya dishadape tasya viparyayo smriti. The Bhagavatam gives us the answer. Sankhya Darshan also says, bandho viparyayat. So there's a sequence, a logical sequence. We are turned away from God. We never became turned away from God. We are turned away from God. Being turned away means our mind is closed to God. We don't even really believe in his existence, not 100%. We don't believe that he would come to us if we called him. We believe there's happiness in Maya, so we're turned towards Maya, we're turned away from God. When did we turn away from God? It never happened. Since eternity, we're turned towards Maya, and we have our back towards God. This is called being vimukh from God and being sanmukh to Maya. Because of that, Maya has influence over us, control over us. So due to the influence of Maya, we forget our true self, that we are a divine soul, and we identify with the body. And once we identify with the Mayic body, then we chase after happiness in this Mayic world, create Mayic attachments, and that becomes the cause of our rebirth over and over again. So we are responsible for our own bondage. All we have to do is turn towards God. Jushtam yada pashyati pasyatyanyamishamasya mahimanamiti vita shokaha Mundakopanishad. The moment a soul becomes sanmukh to God, he meets God face to face, and all of his suffering, all of his Mayic bondage is finished forever. So we have to become sanmukh to God. We are so small. We're a tiny fraction, like God is the sun, and we're just one tiny ray of that sun. You see, the metal on this harmonium is shiny. It's got ansh of prakash, an ansh of brilliance in it. But the sun is the mahaprakash. When the sun is there, there can never be darkness. When God is there, there can never be Maya. In other words, if you're turned towards God, Maya cannot affect you, even if you're living in the Mayic world. But if you're turned away from God, then Maya can affect you. Just like right now, this is shiny, right? But if we turn off all the lights in this room and it's nighttime, will this piece of metal be able to illuminate this room? No. Even though this has ansh of light in it, the darkness overpowers it because it is such a tiny fraction of light. We're like that. Yes, we are ansh of God, but we're such a tiny fraction. We're called Anuchit. Anu means infinitesimal. Therefore, if we don't have God enlightening us, if we're on our own, we're turned away from God, Maya has its way with us. Maya overpowers us. And this is the situation since eternity. We're turned away from God. Therefore, since we are only Anuchit, Maya, even though it's Jada, it takes over. It keeps us under its bondage. But the solution is, all we have to do is turn towards God, and with his grace, we'll be free from Maya. But how that all works, we'll talk about in the dohas to come, when we delve further into this Kripalu Trayodashi in tomorrow night's lecture, and the third part, which will be on Sunday morning. So let us sing this fifth doha for today. Brahma Vigya Sukha Kanda Govind Radhe Jiva Agya Maya Dhina Sadate Bata Brahma Vigya Sukha Kanda जीव अज्ञ मायाधीन सदा ते बता दे। श्यामा श्याम की। This evening's program is going to continue now with a video of Shri Maharaj